you official now, but you got a soul to save. I just been cooking that new. I'm about to drop in the few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim, brothers and sisters, we're back again. Tuesday night, you know what it's time for. Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, the editor-in-chief of the Final Call newspaper, who is celebrating a birthday. I guess the birthday party is extended because he's not on with us as of now. Brother James G. Muhammad, former editor of the Final Call newspaper, now contributing editor. He's on the line with us. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How you feeling today?
Oh, wa alaikum salam, Brother BJ. I hope you can hear me. I'm doing well. Our big brother is celebrating his birthday. We want to give a shout out and thank Allah for him for envisioning this show. And I hope he's having a great time. He's with his children. Inshallah, he'll join at some point. But I was with him a little earlier. He was in good spirits. He was grubbing down then. He's probably still grubbing down. So, happy birthday, Brother Naba'a. May Allah bless you with many, many, many more and to continue to doing this great work that you're doing. So how you doing, Brother BJ?
Brother, I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. Getting ready for this tropical storm down here in the south, brother.
Oh.
We batten down the hatches. We know who's in control of everything. So, we ain't worried about nothing. We ain't worried about a thing.
Get you a couple of 50-gallon barrels, sit it out in the yard, and let them fill up in about let them fill up and just throw them away. So you'll have a little bit of water for when it really goes down. But we hope that you all are safe and you take care. We got a great show, don't we?
Yes, sir. We got a great show. Already on the line, we got our great sister, Sister Cheryl Smith. She is a publisher of iMessenger, Texas Metro News, the Garland Journal, iMessenger. She's with the NABJ, which we're going to have that discussion about what the article Brother Naba'a wrote. Of course, last week was one for the books concerning black media. And Sister Cheryl, how you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks a lot.
You should have just said he's a media mogul, brother. That would have summed it all up, man.
That's right.
And a premier journalist as well.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, for my people.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, ma'am. Brother Naba'a wrote this wonderful article on why the NABJ got punked by Trump. And Sister Cheryl, I know you all up in this, and you want to give out your views on what you saw last week. It was a fiasco. Everybody's talking about it. What's your take on it?
Well, it's really interesting. Thanks for having me. I know that there was a birthday party last week also for the wonderful owner of WVON. And I didn't make it there, but I can tell you I did not go in the room. I didn't need to inhale that. So I was in another room in the hotel, and I was eating, and I said I didn't need to have the camera scan the crowd and get their meme of the year with the look that would be on my face as this man talked. So, but I would just tell you, just for the record, and I wish we had done a better job. Sometimes communicators are the worst communicators because people need to understand that first and foremost, the invitation goes out every election year. And most organizations send the invitation out. Now, I know there's certain circumstances. The invitation went out months ago before Vice President was on the scene as the candidate. So it went to the Biden campaign and the Trump campaign. And then it only went out to the Harris campaign in a couple of weeks before. So whereas Trump had all this time to schedule, and he's been invited since 2016 and never came. And usually Republicans don't come. The last Republican I remember to come as a candidate or president was Bush the son. And that was in D.C. over 10 years ago, and that was, similar. It wasn't as bad. He was not disrespectful. Trump was disrespectful. There were a number of issues that folks raised, and I actually thanked the NABJ board and members in our business meeting on Saturday morning, because I never heard Black press mentioned so much in over 3 decades of being part of the organization as I did. As folks were asking, where was the Black press? Why wasn't someone from the Black press on the panel? And then they asked where was a Black man? And then why was, I can tell you, 49 years of NABJ, I served on the national board 10 years. And almost every year that we sit down to look at organizations, news organizations that we are going to give the thumbs down award to, Fox always comes up. It may not get it every time, but it comes up. And to give them a platform, there are just a number of things that should have happened, and it could have happened in real time. And but I think it was uncharted waters for some people, and so it was new to them, because I know that some people would have stopped it. It's the first time he went sideways.
Right.
And gave him a reprimand and told him he could leave. And then he had a lot of demands, which I talked to the president afterwards, and he made a lot of demands, and those demands would have been enough for me to say, okay, see ya. And I think that even though you have a policy sometimes or a standard, sometimes you have to look at, it's like situational ethics. You have to look at the situation and who's involved in that.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Cheryl.
I think we lost her for a minute.
Okay, yeah. I had a couple of quick questions I want to get her, but while we wait I wonder if she even knows that she dropped off. But as you said, and as Brother Naba'a termed it was a dumpster fire. It was a fiasco. It was, to me, embarrassing for the organization. And there were, there's a lot of things that have not been answered, and I'm hoping that Cheryl can give some insight onto some of the things that were happening, outside of the public view. And I hope we can get her back. I don't know. Do you have the number for her? Call her?
Yes, sir. Come on, chime back in.
Oh, okay. Okay, we lost you for a minute. But Cheryl, let me ask you, because you were talking about the demands that Mr. Trump made. A couple quick questions. What were some from what I've been hearing, he was saying, number one, that NABJ held him back. He was late because of things that NABJ had done that held him back, such as the sound system, etc. And I'm wondering, because I also heard that he had asked some things that caused you guys to switch up some things on the sound. For example, I think he said he didn't want live fact-checking or things like that. So basically my question is was it NABJ's problem or fault that he was late or whatever he wanted to call it, or was it some things he was demanding or whatever that caused NABJ to hold him from coming out until they kind of did whatever they needed to do to respond to his demands or to, whatever?
Well, first there was, that was a flat out lie. Just call it what it is. It was a lie. He was so before go ahead.
Why wasn't that? Did you ask Mr. Lemon why wasn't that called out while it was happening in real time? Because he was allowed to say that throughout the whole conversation, and if you didn't know, you would think that he was held up because NABJ held him up, and it was Black journalists' fault.
And that is the same thing. When I didn't ask him why, I said if you had someone in there, if you would have had panelists who knew it were skilled and could check him right then and there. I said because before I got into my first question, I would have said, in the interest of time, because a lot of our time was, I would have made some reference to who held it up, because I don't want to leave that area gray. And no one said it, and he said it at least twice. He was the one, he had his people back there, and this is told to me, because I didn't go to anybody, because I said they didn't come to me to ask me how to do it, so, don't ask me how to clean it up or anything. And that was the position I took after we had made, a few errors in judgment, I thought. So when he was complaining about the fact checking that he did not want to go on, he complained about everything. You see, he's complaining about the debates he's supposed to have, and he's making stipulations. And I would venture to guess, and not to guess, but I heard he made stipulations for us, and some of them I would have just said, okay, thank you for your interest, and went on. And he was actually given, I was told, 7 minutes to get it together, or either we were going to just go out there and say something. And then his person said he was coming off at a certain time, and if he didn't, he made a lot of demands and was very arrogant and condescending to NABJ leadership.
Yeah, but as Brother Naba'a said, NABJ got played. You got played. Let me ask you another question, Cheryl. I don't want to cut you off, but I know you probably don't have a lot of time to be with us. But, okay, the three panelists, number one, as you said, they weren't the best ones to put up. They're journalists, so they're professional, et cetera. But from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Harris, I believe she's with Fox, and she is not a member of NABJ. Is that
No,
correct?
she isn't. That was for us in our business.
Yeah, how does NABJ allow a journalist, how does she get up there, even if she's not paying dues or, I don't know, participating in NABJ? How does she get on as a questioner, and was she requested by Trump?
We never could get an answer on that, but the answer that I did get was that Trump suggested there's a brother that appears on Fox with Harris, and that he was requested, and there was conversation back and forth, but I could never get anyone to admit. But as soon as I saw her name on there, I felt that was a Trump move. And
it's insulting.
Don't let anybody come into your house.
Yeah, I'm wondering, the other two young ladies, why didn't they, didn't you guys, or did not they publicly raise concerns to the leadership of the organization that a non-member is allowed to participate in a nationally publicized interview with the former president of the United States, whoever he is, even if it was, Kamala Harris.
Very good question, a very valid one. Let me tell you, I didn't even hear that question. The main questions we heard was, why Fox, why Harris, why no black press, and why no black man?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Those were the ones, because the thing about it is, like you say, the president, Ken Lemon, said that he was looking at, when you look at journalism schools across the country and you look at the membership, women dominate. And I do understand that, but I also understand that there's been a lot of talk. Circumstances make you flip the script or change things. And when you consider that you have black men talking about voting for a black man on that panel.
Were they, let's say both Harris and Trump had agreed to show up. Would they have shown up together on one panel, or would they have shown up on separate panels?
Well, they were asked for that specifically. He wouldn't have been on a panel, and he said he thought he was there for a debate. And all the times the times that I've questioned presidential candidates or the president, it's been Clinton, Senator Obama, and Senator Clinton. So it was those three. I think those are the only ones that I have for NABJ. And it's never been in a debate type scenario. Even the way they were sitting, it would have been better if those three women would have been at a table and this is about others. And then if he had been standing up at a podium answering the questions, because it was awkwardly, there was an awkward look. And and then, I know, but it gave people a lot of time to look at his ear, though. And there's a lot of commentary about his ear and the lack of any scarring or anything. You still have people commenting about that. But did you feel that most people were saying that they, when you look at who was put up there, you had Fox, and Fox has not been a friend to Black people. And then you look at the new startup that the sister was there from, and it's like, come on, we're in Chicago. Chicago has so many. Right. You didn't even have to pay for anybody coming or worry about them being there. Just so many outlets emanating from Chicago that we could have gotten somebody from there. And then, this is a guy who kept he was very disrespectful, and it should have been stop, hold up, wait a minute. And the thing, and so I mentioned it in our meeting because there was a rapper in Houston when Sidnell S.D. Sumter was president of NABJ, and he said some very degrading things. I know I was just arriving at the hotel, and I saw people rushing out of the ballroom because they left because he was so rude and disrespectful, and Sidnell got up and checked him. Somebody needed to check this man and said, no, not in this house.
Wow.
Go ahead, BG.
Yeah. So we got the Sister Cheryl Smith, y'all. We talking about the article Brother Naba'a wrote. It's a beautiful article in straightwords.com, why NABJ got Trump punked. And you can read the article. I want to read an excerpt real quick from what he said, just kind of hitchhiking off what you just said, Sister Cheryl. NABJ secret Trump invite. No. I'm reading from the article. NABJ, you had to have known this was rather stupid, arrogant, and destructive. Knowing who Trump is, you knew a move like this required plenty of dialogue with the membership, especially Black female members who were accosted by this man in the White House, who had all their personal lives disrupted and personal security threatened. Instead of an amazing moment for the truth and Black people, you got destroyed. The saddest part is you never saw it coming or you ignored it. In either case, your betrayal was stunning. You don't hide things when you're doing the right thing. And coming behind that, do you think that Ken Lemon, who I know personally because, he's in Charlotte, been a long-time reporter on the ABC network here at the local affiliate, do you think he should step down? Should he be made to step down? I mean, can he keep his position after this fiasco?
The thing about it is he has support, and people feel and as the past president said, he follows the policy of the organization to invite candidates. The execution, as one president said, that left much to be desired. Some of the things, and one of, you all know Yamiche Alcindor, and she asked questions about, did we acquiesce to his suggestions for who would be a panelist, who would be a moderator in this of sorts. Then she asked other questions about the ethical, violations that may have occurred by letting someone tell us who we can put on our panel, and we never got that. I think that, we talked about this being a lesson from him. I tell you, really, I thought I was really upset initially because I know that we do this all the time. The execution of it really bothered me because we're supposed to be bigger and better than that. We are supposed to be, you're supposed to be, by the time we step out, we're supposed to be the standard. And you don't make some of the amateurish that were made. There were just some things that needed to be said. And then more than anything, and they say communicators are the worst communicators. And this shows, because transparency is very important. And there are things like there was an interview that was done with Axios, and they talked about, how the real time, you got to have people who are up there who are really savvy. And this is nothing against the women. People keep talking about an imposter syndrome, and it comes from going in places where you don't belong, or know you're for.
Not qualified, right?
Anybody putting it on you, because we all are of an age where we had the stuff and went in the room, and they tried to make us feel like we didn't have it. That's trying to build the imposter mentality in our heads. But we have a lot. We have built generations that sometimes aren't ready to go in, and they don't know how to say no. I'm not ready.
Right. Let me ask Brother James G.
Sure. Yeah.
Brother James, let's take a couple of phone calls real quick before you go to your next question. Yeah. We got Cheryl Smith on. We're talking about why the NABJ got Trump punked. You can go to straightwords.com and read that article. We got Brother Mike on WVON 1690 on Straight Words. Go ahead and talk to us, Brother Mike.
Hey, how's everybody?
How you doing?
The AP, the Associated Press had announced the day of, it was late notice, but they had said that Ms. Harris would not be there because she already had previous engagements. And so it was not confirmed that she would even be there. So the media has been kind of kicking that, trying to give the narrative back to Trump once again. And so, and you're not hearing about it as much, but if you Google it or search it out, you'll find several news sources that did the story the day of or the day after, saying that, he was notified, and that's what he was upset about. But here's the bigger issue. Trump did a speech in front of some nationalist Christian organization saying, all you Christians, get out and vote for me. This will be the last election. He has been talking about it, hinting it, and even emphatically stating that once he is president, that he is never leaving office. And you should definitely Google that. You can even play the speech and hear him talking about that if he wants everybody to get out and vote. And as a Christian myself, I am really disappointed. I've been for taxing the church, holding the church accountable. You can't claim to be a 501c3 nonprofit on one side and then be a political entity on the other side. So to me, that is the biggest weapon that the Democrats have right now, is to, number one, ask the military if they, are you going to vote for somebody that wants to come into office and then they're going to expect you to go and serve this country and just toss the Constitution out? That is the story. I don't know. If we can't get the narrative right and nail that in, then and I listened to Tabitha's show earlier, and he had a commentator on there too that was talking about under certain circumstances, it's going to be a very tight race. And we went and voted here today in Missouri, or Kansas City, Missouri, and the parking lot was full. I was surprised when I got in there how quick I was able to get up, and we voted for our senators and some tax bills and stuff like that, which I'm totally against. We're overtaxed.
Brother Mike. Go
ahead.
Good comments, Brother Mike. We got some more callers, man, but thank you for calling in, man.
Thank you. All right,
big brother. You're on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. This is Straight Words. We have Larry. We got Brother Cliff on the line. Brother Cliff, go ahead and talk to us, big brother.
Assalamualaikum, brothers. I'll be brief and get right to the point. I think it was staged. I also think that the sound check that Trump was complaining about, and also to confirm that, you had Harris that waited on it too, and I believe that was just that was fake. There was nothing wrong with that sound system, but nevertheless, there were some questions that I was hoping that would be brought up. Number one, reparations. That should have been brought up, but then at the end, one of the panelists brought up Project 2025, and then one of the other panelists just cut it right off. And so I certainly didn't agree with that. But listen, here's the part that was most disturbing. I give credit to the issue of Sonia Massey, our sister that was executed. That came up, and Trump's response was, I didn't really know too much about it. I don't know. But then he went further on to say that look at the black-on-black crime in the community. And that's what these white Republicans and some black people, do refer back to. And the issue is that, do they have a point? And that's why I say, particularly Brother Art says that a lot too. But yes, this does happen. And so in closing, if Kamala Harris does get in, I hope she is strong on crime in our black community, because some of these brothers and sisters, particularly our brothers, need to be incarcerated if they keep repeating crime in our black community, bro. They need to be dealt with. We don't have time to be praying for them and trying to rehabilitate them. They need to be off our streets if they commit crime in our community. Thanks for taking my call.
Can I just say something on BK? Yes, do have another call? No, I would on that whole crime piece. Saying you hope Harris would be hard on crime. Of course, we all want safe streets, et cetera. I would just hope that she would be fair on crime, because that's what they, as you mentioned, that they use that as a bulwark against us wanting to hold police accountable. So it's not that that judges and whatever are not hard on crime for us. They're not hard on crime for the police, and they're not fair on crime for our community, because we get the short. Why do they not? And I'll end it with this, Brother BJ. Why aren't this brother that just got out of jail, and there are many others like him, after 34 years of being falsely accused? Most times the prosecutor is at fault because they either withheld evidence or did something shady that allowed for an innocent person to go. But when they get out, if that prosecutor is still alive and working in law, there is never a consequence for that prosecutor. So that's the fairness that I'm talking about. Why don't they hold folks accountable on both sides of the law? Do we have
and that is what I think one of the questions was from the sister, the one that was talking from the sister in the middle. And the thing we have to understand is that when we talk about folks are saying, the vice president locks black men up, and do we not realize what is happening with the court systems and what is going on with Trump and what he plans to do? I don't know. I really can't see how, and they talk about black men, and it's a bunch of hype, it's a smoke screen. All of this is a distraction. That's what it's trying to take our minds off of where it really needs to be. And this man is not, he don't like y'all. He's not caring about your welfare and well-being. He doesn't care about ours. He definitely don't care about yours. And it seems like there are some men falling in love with him over a $1,500, $2,000 check. And that's no money at all for us to be getting excited about. And then you have to look at what's going to happen to the courts. And when you're walking into a courtroom and you're sitting up there looking at you're sitting up there looking at a judge who has never tried a case before, because those are some of the ones who are getting in there under a Trump administration. And he talked about 2025. He has a lot planned for us, and we need to understand we need to take care of our own. And I just really, again, would like to see some of that activism from our black men and standing up more and everything. It would have been great to have, just like they had their Secret Service around them, if we would have had our troops, our people around those sisters, because they are getting death threats. The convention chair is getting death threats. There's some wackos out there, and we need to understand that and show a little grace and compassion to ourselves, because at the bottom line is we are under assault. We are at war, and sometimes we spend that time fighting ourselves rather than fighting the real enemy.
Yeah, and to Art's comment about the white Christians, he was talking about the white Christians. It's more than Christianity that they're pushing. They're pushing white nationalism, because that's it. Because that's, as the minister has said, Minister Farrakhan has talked about, what we're seeing now is this mask of stability being peeled away,
Right.
where
That's right.
where white folks are just tired of what they call illegal immigration. They're tired of black folks doing anything to improve ourselves. They don't want us teaching about black history. If a black Jesus showed up tomorrow, they would be stoning him like they did in the past. So it's nothing about
Right.
Christianity that they're pushing. But I had another quick question for you, Sister Cheryl. What was the mood, like you was mentioning in your meetings, but after Trump left, the days following, was the mood? How was the mood different from past years, or was it any different?
There were a lot of condemnations of him, and then they used a 4-letter word. I heard a lot of word in front of show. They were calling it S show.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that a lot, but I was getting text messages. I heard from a brother in Ghana. I heard from people who were at the Olympics in Paris, and folks were really upset, and they were like, "What are y'all doing?" I started to put on my social media page. I didn't do a thing, but because the thing about it is, like I said, if I would have been asked, I would have said, "Where's somebody from the black press?" Don't have to be me, but the black press should have been. I was like, "Where is the brother?" And when a reporter came and asked me, how did I feel? That I feel like the Trump being there put a damper on my on the convention for me, and my response was, "Who?" And that's why I left it at, because I can tell you the one thing that I wanted, and more than anything, and I just got really, if I could have, what would have made my convention would have been to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right.
And
that would have. What were you going to say, Brother James or BJ?
No, okay, I just last thing for me, BJ. Oh, do you have a caller?
Yes, sir. We got 2 more calls, but go ahead and make your statement, brother.
Go ahead. No, I was you mentioned ethics, sister. From what I understand, this whole appearance was kept secret to the point that even the co-chair resigned, et cetera. So I was curious about, in the past, was it always a secret? And you don't have to answer. We can go to our caller, but you can answer at some point later.
It's supposed to be a secret. The secret, we knew the invite had been there because it's standard operating procedure to send the invite. But it's also it's been a standard that they never come. He's turned down 5 invites previously.
Wow. Rick, longtime NABJ member, Sister Cheryl Smith. She's a publisher, author. She's on with us. We're talking about the fiasco, why the NABJ got Trump punk, according to Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad. And NABJ, and you can go to straightwords.com. Read that article, straightwords.com. Go to our website. Brother Barney, assalamu alaikum. Go right ahead and make your comment on WVON, big brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Greetings to our host, Sister Cheryl, and Brother James, and Brother BJ. I want to be brief. My sister was dealing with the policy of inviting these presidents and so forth, and I want to look at, as we examine this, how can we then make this also work toward us in strengthening the NABJ? Is there a policy where, in terms of interviewing candidates, and if not, should there be, that any person or organizations that publicly attack an NABJ member or NABJ organization should be barred from participating in any NABJ event or activity, such as that Trump did with our sister April and other black journalists in those positions. And so, I would like for that to look at that policy. If it is not one there, it should be there. The other thing that you mentioned, I just want to brief, was the staging arrangement. I think you're correct. But I did notice that Trump had those 3 triple American flags behind him, so I don't think he would accept anything that did not allow him to look like he was a president. And the host mentioning Mr. President, which gives him an advantage, where he should never have given him that title.
Good point, brother. I just want to say real quick, he did not want to be referred to as former president. And guess what? If I had been up there and in that opportunity, I would have called him Mr. Trump. I would not have called him Mr. President.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And
so there is not a policy, but we've talked in the meeting, talked about having a policy to deal with things, including not letting anyone who is not a member of NABJ stop holding them up holding them up and giving them the grace that you don't even give to your membership should have its privileges. And it was given to someone who, has no, I can't even watch her because she's going to say something. It's a ministry. I like to support Black women wherever they are. But when a Black woman is tearing us down, like I have seen her comments about Black people, I don't have time to waste on that.
Yeah, I want to make one other comment, brother. Could I do this?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. And the final thing, when our sister Cheryl was saying she wished that the brother Minister Farrakhan was there, and I wanted that to relate that to the brother that wants to keep throwing Black folks away and locking up the key because we're criminals. We do that, and most Black leadership would never be there. There would be no Malcolm X. There would be no Marla Angelo. There would be none of these. So so when we're talking about a Minister Farrakhan, none of these politicians are going to be able to address the violence. But here you got an organization 90 years of age with proven results in stopping the violence, taking the guns out of our brothers and sisters' hands, and elevating them to a civilized condition. They don't want to hear that. None of these candidates want to hear that. You can ask them till your face turn blue. Until we do, as our sister has suggested, put the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the front burner, then this country is going to hell on a roller coaster. May Allah bless each and every one of you.
WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Brother Chris, you are on the line on Straight Words. Go ahead and talk to us.
Good evening, everyone. Great show, great topic. The individual was invited on the stage, thinking past his prologue as a legitimate, candidate. This individual had no platform, so he filibustered the whole situation. It was said that it took almost 30 minutes for him to try to come to terms with fact-checking. So that was the issue, not the equipment. I heard the whole situation loud and clear. So if any journalists get on there and repeat that lie of a equipment failure, they're illegitimate. And also, the sister asked, if you're president, quote unquote, you should be able to take any question, any hardball, softball, any question. And you saw he invited the sister from Fox News, who always gives softball questions, and I guess gave a comfort zone. But if you look at the Fox interviews with Democrats, they're always disingenuous and with questions and throw them under the bus. So I'll say this: he had no message for the Black folks. He had nothing for them, and it was just for show. And also, the Republicans always try to run on law and order. 7 of the 10 states have the highest crime are Republican. And you saw what our brother Timothy McVeigh did when he blew up that building back in the day and was still able to get his day in court. You saw January 6th. If we reverse the hue, they had the complexion for protection, right? So, and then the Black brothers are saying, so, they're for him. They can be, but normally you vote your interest. I am not for him. Definitely not. He was voted the worst president in U.S. history based on metrics. Lost jobs, killed the stock market, and the Black small businesses suffered greatly. The handling of COVID, people dying. He gave Bob Woodward 18-20 interviews in November of November 2019, prior to COVID. They could have notified the American people, but made it a wedge issue. And he went to Walter Reed when he went to Walter Reed, one of the best hospitals in the United States, and got it in his family. Why he's just wedge issues with don't tell me to wear a mask and all this. When people were burying their family,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're about out of time, though. We appreciate your comment, though.
Okay.
We appreciate you calling in. We got your points. We're going to respond to them.
Thank you. And then don't remember, people are burying their families on Zoom. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right. You're listening to WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Brother Naba'a, Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, Brother BJ. Our special guest this hour is Sister Cheryl Smith, a publisher in Texas. Of course, she's got a large readership. She's commenting about the NABJ fiasco last week when Donald Trump got on stage and did whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Brother James, you go right ahead and continue your questioning.
So I guess one of my last questions was up on the clock. Coming out of it, what kind of conversations did, the leadership have with regard to immediate issues that would be addressed? And also, Sister Cheryl, since you're a member of the Black Press, is it something that the Black Press might be talking about doing with regard to, raising up the issue of what happened there and putting some analysis into it and some perspective that would bring out more of the truth? Because in my opinion, myself, I'll speak for myself, if I didn't know some of the background issues, I would come out thinking Trump, believing what Trump said. Just not even talking about how many other lies that he told. But as you wrap up, what would some of your comments to that be?
Yeah, let me tell you, I really wish that we have a number of members. We have a whole population with a representative on the board of people who crisis communications is that's what they do. And we talked about having people. We did have some high-level people who have been longtime members of NABJ who have dealt in those type of arenas before. And they were saying we need to have a policy. We need to have some guidelines there. And we need to, there's certain things, circumstances, there needs to be a more involvement, if you will, and members should know. Just like we should not have found out, for those who were not there and heard rumblings or whatever through the halls or whatever, there should have been something that went out immediately fixing that we are the cause of the program being late. And saying, but, I think that this is one for the books that we're going to really have to, I think it's going to be a case study. Now, I will tell you this. That morning, when I got off the plane in Chicago, I had a call from Dr. Ben Chavis, who is the president of NNPA, and from Bobby Henry, who is the chair of the board. And they were very disappointed that we would have Trump there because he has done so much harm to our people. So, the one thing I would like, as a member of the Black Press, I could set my own standards. I was capitalizing the being Black long before Associated Press. I don't even use Associated Press in any of my publications because we're the Black Press, And so there's some concerns about how we do things. And we have, I think, even when I look at the Nation of Islam and why it was so attractive to my generation and growing up in Newark, New Jersey, and East Orange, was that the nation, they studied the Quran, but they also looked at the plight of Black people in America, and that is really important, and that takes precedence over just studying religion, because some people, they so heavily bound they are no earthly good, And with NABJ, we have to look at some things. We are not on the same playing field with other journals, and we don't have to be, because they don't deal with some of the issues that we deal with. So we have to address them. And I looked at the sister, her name Kadia Gober from Semaphore. She looked really. And she may not have been, but looks at what I got and what others got from her. She looked a little like deer caught in headlights.
Yeah,
and,
she was disheveled a little bit, yeah.
And there's nothing to be afraid of. Harris was up there with her friend. Scott was holding it down, and she kept trying to get him to answer a question.
Yeah.
And for him, he does what Trump is a deflector, and he was deflecting on her. And you know, the thing about it is, she was questioning him. He wasn't supposed to be questioning her, so he's trying to get her to answer the question on DEI. And for him to stay there, if people don't know anything, they know that this boy said he didn't know about Sonia Massey. If you don't, if there was one thing you should have known about, you know, was
he knew about it.
That.
He knew about it.
And it was right in that area, too, in the same state. Come on, you know. So there's a lot to be learned. There's going to be a lot of talking and lessons, and this is something that I think that, you know, we heard in the meeting that you're going to have to talk to us. You're going to have to let us know. You're going to have to go to the people you meet, ask, why didn't you get with people who work with the White House, who've been covering the White House, who know what to do?
Mr. Cheryl, we right up against the top of the hour. Real quick, let everybody know how they can get in contact with you and read your publications. Okay,
you can email me at penonfire2@gmail. You can go to www.texasmetronews.com and find me. I'm on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, and if you look for me, if you holler loud enough, you'll get me, because I really hear from people who want to make this world a better place for us. Because
all right. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, Sister Cheryl. We'll speak to you real soon. Thank you so much for being on.
Yes, take care, sir.
Brother Naba'a.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
we'll do that for sure.
All right, brothers and sisters. Sister Carmen Muhammad, you're talking about modesty in fashion. We got a great weekend coming up for you in just a couple of weeks at the Drake Hotel. She's going to be our special guest to tell you all about her work in the fashion industry, critically acclaimed all over the world, brothers and sisters, for her fashion. So she's coming up top of the hour right here on WVON 1690. You're listening to Straight Words. Go to our website, straightwords.com. Find out how you can support our program and keep us on the air. WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago.